Guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have signed some undrafted free agents. We have a long list to go through here. The Buccaneers have signed 12 undrafted free agents. They are bringing 2 undrafted rookies in on tryout contracts for rookie minicamp. They have a chance to earn a spot on the Buccaneers 90-man roster, and right now, as of the recording of this video, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 88 total players on their roster. They have 2 open spots right now that they can use to re-sign some guys, maybe Ndamukong Suh, maybe Rob Gronkowski, or bring in some new players as well. Also, the Buccaneers could make some releases, some cuts at other position groups to free up some other roster spots as well. I did get this entire list from Greg Auman of The Athletic on Twitter, by the way, so shout out to Greg Auman. Go give him a follow on Twitter. But let's go ahead and get started here. The first couple of undrafted free agents that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed were wide receivers. First, we have Troy wide receiver Kalen Geiger. We have Western Kentucky wide receiver Jerreth Sterns, who, by the way, had 150 receptions, 1,902 receiving yards, and 17 total touchdowns in this most recent season of college football, and he is 5'9". And then finally, the last wide receiver, Utah State wide receiver Devin Tompkins, who had 102 receptions, 1,704 receiving yards, and 10 total touchdowns in the most recent college football season. So, firstly, with these 3 guys, they're going to be competing for practice squad spots, for maybe a 6th wide receiver spot, and other types of spots along those lines. But man, oh man, the stats on Devin Tompkins and Jerreth Sterns are absolutely insane. In the case of Sterns, 150 receptions, 1,900 total receiving yards, and 17 touchdowns at 5'9". That's an insane, like ludicrous. Like that is literally something you do in a video game on the easiest setting of that video game type of stats right there. Absolutely insane. Sterns, I think, is a very interesting prospect out of Western Kentucky. Same thing with Tompkins there out of Utah State. Again, 1,700 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? And Geiger is definitely going to add some interesting things as well. But man, Sterns and Tompkins, those 2 guys had some insane stats in this most recent season of college football. Holy crap. Now, switching over to the defensive side at the cornerback position, you have North Carolina cornerback Kyler McMichael, South Dakota State cornerback Dan Gardner, who is 6'1", 180 pounds, had 2 interceptions last year in college. And then finally, you have Clemson safety Nolan Turner, who ran a 4.37 40-yard dash and has over 700 plus special team snaps in college football. He was also a 2-time team captain while at Clemson again. So this is interesting. I think that these guys all have an interesting shot in terms of, again, practice squad spots, competing for those types of opportunities for developmental type guys. Clemson safety Nolan Turner, 4.37 40-yard dash, 700 plus special team snaps. That's the kind of guy who could definitely potentially battle for a 53-man roster spot, specifically just as a special teams player alone, right? Because he has so much experience on special teams. It's going to be interesting to see what happens specifically here with Nolan Turner. Again, 2-time team captain at Clemson, that's not an easy thing to do. They just don't hand those things out to every single guy on the team. You got to fight really hard to get one of those leadership opportunities. Nolan Turner got it on a very, very good school in Clemson. And again, 4.37 40-yard dash, 700 plus special team snaps. I think he's also going to be a big name to watch there. Continuing on with the defensive players, you have Rutgers linebacker Olakunle Fatukasi, who had 28 tackles for loss and 302 total tackles while in college. And Fatukasi, by the way, has a brother who is currently playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, formerly of the New York Jets. So That's some very impressive stats there. 28 tackles for loss. He is also going to be a guy who's going to be competing for practice squad and potentially special teams type opportunities. You also have Memphis linebacker J.J. Russell, who is 6 foot tall, 227 pounds, first team AAC in college football. Old Dominion linebacker Jordan Young. Again, that's Old Dominion linebacker Jordan Young. And then finally, you have Arkansas State edge rusher Joe. I'm not going to try and say the man's last name. Ozagwu, I think? I don't know. Some of these names are very difficult this late in the draft process. But again, you have an edge defender from Arkansas State, 7.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, 6'2", 228 pounds. He played his first 3 years of college football at North Texas before making the transition over to Arkansas State. Good job, Joe, the edge defender. Not going to try to say your last name again. I'm just going to call him Joe Ozzie. So Joe Ozzie out of Arkansas State, 7.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, good size as well. He's also going to be a guy who is going to be another interesting name to watch. Also, along with Fadakasi out of Rutgers, because those guys were putting up some pretty impressive stats in college. And then finally, at least in terms of the undrafted free agents, we still have 2 tryout players to talk about, but we move to the offensive line. Montana offensive tackle Dylan Cook, 6'6", 309 pounds. That's a big man. That's a big man. Somebody that you could kind of grow and develop into maybe a backup offensive tackle somewhere down the line. You also have Ball State tackle/guard Curtis Blackwell, who is 6'5", 302 pounds. And Blackwell's interesting because of his versatility, right? The Buccaneers coaching staff really does like versatile guys, both on offense and on defense. Blackwell is no different here. He can play tackle, he can play guard, and we'll see if there's some type of role for him on a practice squad as a developmental guy somewhere down the line. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. He could maybe battle for a backup offensive lineman spot on the 53-man roster. It's going to be tougher because the Buccaneers do have a great amount of depth. They just drafted Luke Gedeke in this most recent draft, literally just a little bit ago. So again, it's going to be tough for Blackwell to maybe crack the 53-man roster, for all of these guys to crack the 53-man roster, but they could always battle for some practice squad spots and things along those lines, and there are some very interesting names there. Again, you look at Jareth Stearns out of Western Kentucky, the wide receiver, Devin Tompkins, the wide receiver out of Utah State, same thing. Those guys put up insane stats. Clemson safety Nolan Turner put up some very good snaps in terms of special teams play and ran a very good 40-yard dash. You have Rutgers linebacker Fadakasi, 28 tackles for loss, 302 total tackles in college. You have Arkansas State edge defender Joe Ozzie, 7.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, 6'2", 228. He seems like he could be a good potential developmental edge rusher. And then also you got some big guys on that offensive line coming in with Curtis Blackwell at 6'5", 302. Dylan Cook, offensive tackle at 6'6", 309. A lot of interesting names here. I wish all of these guys the best of luck in their opportunities that they're going to get, starting with the rookie minicamp coming up soon, and maybe some more chances as the Buccaneers offseason progresses. We have 2 more tryout players that are going to be brought in for the rookie minicamp. You have Coastal Carolina wide receiver Cameron Brosseau, I believe. 605 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 6'2", 218 pounds. Seems like an interesting, big, physical wide receiver. I can't wait to see what he's going to do at the rookie minicamp. And then also, you have a local man in the name of FSU offensive tackle Devontae Love Taylor, 6'3", 301 pounds. Folks, that's all the names that the Buccaneers have brought in after the NFL draft. I still have a lot of discussions that will be talked about here on the channel about the Buccaneers draft picks, grading them out, what they can potentially do for the Buccaneers in this upcoming season. And yeah, the Buccaneers aren't done making moves, obviously. You have the post-wave of free agency, all the different signings that can be made. There's still a lot of very good free agents out there. The Buccaneers have injected a ton of young talent into their team now, going into the remainder of their offseason, and it all starts with the rookie minicamp that'll be coming up soon. So let's pay attention because it is going to be a lot of fun to see all these young players live out their NFL dreams and try to make the most of their opportunities. But what do you guys think about these undrafted free agents and tryout players that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have brought in after the NFL draft? Do you like some of these guys? Do they interest you? Do you not like some of these guys? Are you not as interested in them? Give me your thoughts and opinions. Again, out of all the names that I read there are definitely a good amount of interesting names there based on how some of these guys produced in their college days. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.